Hi, everybody. Welcome to City Beat. I'm your host, Nancy Byrne, and we are coming to you from one of our Las Vegas Fire and Rescue newest fire stations, Station 47, built up here in Summerlin to try to keep up with all of the construction, something you might be hearing in the background throughout this program. Well, we're going to start on a public safety note. You know, our city leaders have always said that public safety is a top priority. So whenever a top position in one of those arenas opens up, we look for the best of the best. We've had two positions opening recently. We're going to start with Las Vegas Fire and Rescue. Late last year, Fire Chief Willie McDonald left for a job in Northern California. So, of course, we recruited the best of the best. We're going to introduce you to Fire Chief Jeff Buchanan. He started his career in fire suppression at a time that changed our country's history, a time when many people might have thought twice about being a first responder. Not Chief Buchanan.
We all remember where we were on September 11th, 2001, the day our country was attacked by al-Qaeda with a series of suicide missions using passenger jets as powerful bombs. The World Trade Center Twin Towers collapsed. The Pentagon in Washington, D.C. was heavily damaged, and another jet's path to D.C. was thwarted by selfless passengers. It went down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Nearly 3,000 people died in a day. Watching this all take place along with the rest of the world was Jeff Buchanan, who was just days away from graduating from the Fire Academy.
The last couple of days of the academy, we, as a group, we watched the planes flying into the World Trade Center, and so we got to experience it, not even have been graduates of a fire academy yet. 2 days later, we graduated. I'm born in Detroit, Michigan. My mom and dad couldn't come. They couldn't come because all flights were grounded.
Well, he went on to graduate without his parents there to share in the achievement, but there would be many more accomplishments for them to celebrate with him in the years to come. His curiosity and hunger for knowledge gave him a well-rounded fire suppression and emergency medical service background in North Las Vegas.
I was a paramedic, firefighter. I was a SWAT medic, was a part of the very first and only tactical medic program in the state that was fire-based. So in North Las Vegas, there was a group of, initially I think it was 7 of us that deployed with the North Las Vegas SWAT team, so that was a great experience.
Buchanan worked his way up to captain, assistant fire chief, acting chief, and then fire chief. He even spent a year as the city manager in North Las Vegas. That's when Clark County Fire Department opened another door.
Got an opportunity over in Clark County to be a deputy chief of support services, and my oversight was IT and the fleet and the warehouse, but I was also the PIO for 5.5 years, and wrote the development agreements and was just very active. And then I got the opportunity to come here.
Buchanan said when Las Vegas Fire and Rescue approached him about joining our team, he knew it would be an outstanding opportunity. He just didn't know how outstanding until then Chief Willie McDonald left for another position.
Lo and behold, the fire chief here goes to an agency in Northern California, and I'm put in the acting role, which was awesome, and was able to compete and be selected for the job.
While he says Las Vegas already has a nationally renowned fire department, he would like to see a sharper focus on providing professional development in a department that embraces inclusiveness.
Professional development is a big piece to me, and what I think is important. Being inclusive, making sure we're an agency that's inclusive is very important to me. Implementing process and systems. I think we have to have models for everything that we do. You have to be able to repeat a model. And so that's part of what the focus is on in the future.
He also believes anyone on the front lines of any emergency experiences things most people will never be exposed to. So from dispatch to fire suppression to emergency medical care, he wants to make sure the staff is not only highly skilled, but they are provided with tools to stay psychologically and emotionally healthy as well. He has already brought in training in that area. Jeff Buchanan says as far as our world being healthy, well, thanks to the coronavirus pandemic, we are still in the middle of an unprecedented time. But he sees our city as being uniquely qualified to get through this challenge and come out even better on the other end.
There's a really cool, I believe, unique feel about us. Not just Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, about the entire city. So we're a big city. and yet I feel like we're much more nimble than big cities, and we're able to be progressive, and we're able to identify problems, solutions, and then go get it. We're already great. I really believe that. Of course, my goal is to somehow make us greater.
Now, talk about full circle. Jeff Buchanan actually graduated from a Citizens Fire Academy offered by Las Vegas Fire and Rescue many years ago, and now he returns to us not as a civilian, but as our fire chief. So, congratulations and welcome, Fire Chief Jeff Buchanan. Now, moving on to the other top spot that was recently vacated when Chief Michelle Freeman retired from the city after decades of service to the Department of Public Safety. Enter Chief Louis Molina. To say that he brings a rich and diverse background is an understatement.
For possible action.
On December 16, 2020, Louis Molina officially became the new chief of the City of Las Vegas Department of Public Safety, bringing to our city experience from all over the country and, frankly, all over the world, starting with his tour with the U.S. Marine Corps. He followed in his father's footsteps. He served in Vietnam. Chief Molina says the GI Bill giving him access to higher education is what really attracted him. But he ended up learning more than expected during his 4-year tour of duty across parts of Asia.
Even though I did join the Marine Corps to help advance my educational studies, what I really got out of it was really a lot of lessons dealing with discipline, the value of teamwork, really being a servant leader. And that has really served as a foundation for me to really be successful in helping not only uplift organizations that I've worked through it, but really being a role model in the community.
After his tour, he earned a degree in philosophy and decided he wanted to pursue a career in law enforcement, which quickly led to his appointment to the New York City Police Department. With more than 30,000 uniformed and civilian staff, it is the largest police force in the country. And he did a lot of watching and learning from police commissioners he admired.
And while there, I really had the opportunity not only to work alongside, but really observe a lot of police managers and police leaders. Many of the commissioners in the New York City Police Department really helped evolve policing.
In the 13 years he served the people of New York City, he worked hard and earned his way into many coveted and high-risk positions.
Had opportunities to work in most of the major bureaus there, patrol, housing, the detective bureau. I've worked undercover in the Organized Crime Control Bureau, not only infiltrating narcotics, organized crime groups that were bringing illegal drugs into the city, but also temporarily with our counterterrorism group when we worked getting intelligence from domestic terror groups that were trying to cause havoc in the city.
But where he takes much pride is his time as first deputy commissioner for the Westchester County Department of Corrections in New York, where he was instrumental in a double-digit decrease in force incidents and a 90% success rate in de-escalating situations, and ultimately a drop in recidivism, breaking that cycle we too often see in repeat offenders.
And we did this through training, through having open dialogue and seminars, not only with our rank and file uniform staff, but also getting our labor union leaderships to be partners in this process. At the same time, our civilian workforce, which was made up of social workers, medical and mental health professionals, we provided them a voice at the table, right, to help us enhance safety and security of our facility, while at the same time being able to provide services for those that were incarcerated.
You could say his passion for not seeing corrections as a one-sided issue is part of what attracted him to Las Vegas. He points to our municipal court specialty courts and the city's commitment to building relationships between law enforcement and the community as the right road toward a more safe and healthy community.
There's a lot of connectivity in that. I mean, a lot of this is really a public health issue. A lot of this is communities that have faced persistent, lack of economic opportunities. So it's really helpful that as a law enforcement organization that we take those things into consideration, because that's how you're going to really enhance public safety in the communities that we serve.
He was also impressed with the city's partnership with the program My Brother's Keeper.
Back in Westchester, we had a very robust MBK, My Brother's Keeper program, which is a program under the Obama Foundation to really help mentor boys and young men of color. And I was excited to learn about the very robust and active My Brother's Keeper program here in the city of Las Vegas. So it's programs like that where persons like myself, members of my organization, can be mentors to young people, because young people need navigators, right? They need shepherds, so to speak, to help them navigate their journey through life, None of us can be successful on our own. We need support. So when persons in my position can provide that mentorship and support, it really has a rippling effect in the community.
Chief Molina hopes his experience in all aspects of criminal justice and his passion for breaking the cycle of criminal activity helps him take our great Department of Public Safety to an even higher level in this city where he and his wife Shannon have always wanted to live.
Everyone has been so welcoming and supportive, and I'm excited about what the future holds for the city and being a part of that.
So why do Chief Molina and his wife Shannon love Las Vegas so much? Well, aside from the obvious reasons, they actually got married here. They felt like this was a perfect meeting spot for relatives living in Hawaii and on the East Coast. Ever since then, they said they wanted to reside in Las Vegas, and lucky for us, that has happened. Welcome and congratulations to you, Chief Louis Molina. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take you to a very special tribute to 5 cyclists who lost their life while on an annual trek.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.
Welcome back to City Beat. December 10th, 2020 will be remembered by many in our community as the day we lost 5 cyclists as they took part in an annual journey in southern Nevada. A truck veered off the road, killing all 5. Now, the driver of that truck will begin his own journey through our legal system, but one way our tight-knit community of cyclists tries to begin their road to recovery is through a monument called Ghost Cycles. Eric Sorensen takes us to this very special dedication.
Today's about this bike and the families and our friends that were on this bike. One of the other things that was different where this bike came from is I put a call out for bikes, and I never dreamed that I would end up in a situation that I couldn't find enough ghost bikes to set. I mean, just stop and think about that for a minute. That's where we were at. We couldn't find enough bikes to do 5 separate bikes here and 5 out at the site.
It has been 6 weeks since my life was changed forever. As each day passes, I am constantly reminded by friends and family that only time will heal my broken heart. Only time will ease the incredible sorrow and the unbearable pain. For me right now, this isn't how I feel. As each day passes, I feel familiar life slipping away. I feel the last kiss and the last hugs fading away slowly. I feel the last words shared falling away. Once spoken with tenderness and love, now only a faint whisper.
I'm James Emery, and I was on the ride on December 10th that claimed the lives of our 5 loved ones, and I was at Erin's side as she took her last breaths, and it's been pretty tough. Hopefully this changes a lot on how people operate their vehicles and think of cyclists on the road, pedestrians.
I think many of you knew Axel. Axel was a rider who rode with all levels of groups. He loved to hang with the big boys. He liked to ride tough with the big boys. He absolutely loved cycling. He loved being out on the bike. He loved being with the not so fast groups as well. And he'd be always on the road chatting to people about new technology on the bike, what's his favorite bike, what do you like about this one.
Anyone that knew Mike will agree that at least he went while he was doing something that he loved. Our family would like to express our gratitude for the overwhelming support that we receive from the cycling community and let them know that although this was such a tragic loss for us, we do find comfort in knowing there is an effort to raise the level of awareness to prevent this from happening to anyone else.
May Gerard, Aaron, Tom, Axel and Michael all rest well in peace.
You know, sadly, so many of our cyclists say they just don't feel safe on our roadways, even though there are laws in place to protect them, such as the 3-foot law. Well, we are known here in the desert for our very, very mild winters. So if we get measurable snow, it makes the news. And we really made the news. We're going to show you how when we come back.
Dad's home!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
Welcome back to City Beat from Las Vegas Fire and Rescue Station 47, one of the newer stations built here to keep up with the booming construction in Summerlin. Well, let's face it, the COVID-19 pandemic has certainly thrown us all for a loop. So many lives were taken, people's lives disrupted in school, in business. And while we do mourn those lives lost and we feel for the people still trying to figure out how to get through this pandemic, there is a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel through vaccines. However, there are a lot of questions swirling around those vaccines. Who can get it? When do they get it? And is it safe? So I sat down with Joanne Rupiper with our health district to get answers to the most asked questions. Let's start with the fact that the name of getting the vaccine done was Operation Warp Speed. And that's kind of a double-edged sword. Some people think, oh, great, it's getting done quickly, but oh, whoa, too quickly. How safe is this vaccine, Joanne?
Well, the studies are showing that this vaccine is very safe and effective, so that's really good news for us to hear. When we were hearing this in November and December, we were really excited about that. So this vaccine is been developed and FDA has approved it. CDC has put their stamp of approval, and those are the same type of processes that we've had for other vaccines like measles vaccines, chickenpox, HPV. Those were all done the same way. It's just it was done a lot faster. And one of the reasons is because the federal government came in and financed a lot of it. A lot of problems with vaccine development is the lack of financing.
Well, so right now there's kind of two of them out there, and then Johnson & Johnson, I guess, is coming out, I don't know, soon.
I hope so. I can't wait.
Should people be particular about which vaccine they're willing to take, or do you just take the vaccine that's available? Because they're both very highly effective, right?
Well, that's what I did. I just took the vaccine that was available. And frankly, at our clinics, we're not really giving a choice. The two are so different. They're the same in how they work, but one is 0.3 doses, one's 0.5. One you have to mix up, one you don't. So we would prefer to only give one vaccine at most of our first dose clinics, because we want to make sure that the practices are all correct and our staff, that the efficiency is there.
So if your first dose is Moderna, your second dose needs to be Moderna. You can't.
Correct. Yes. So everybody coming for our second doses in the next couple of weeks will get Moderna.
Okay. Very good. I'm just going to run through a few questions that we've been getting. So bear with me while I sort of read without my glasses on.
Yeah.
If you are diabetic and taking medication, do you have to worry about particular reactions to the vaccine?
No. Medications work different with your body. Okay. It's like an antibiotic. They all work pretty much the same, the vaccines. They work with your immune system. Now, if you're diabetic and you have immune problems, which a lot of diabetics do, that's why they get sick and things, then it is really best if you do get the vaccine so that you do protect yourself against infections, because that can really mess up your diabetic status, mess up your blood sugars. So you really want to get the vaccine as a diabetic. Just like flu vaccine. Think of it that way.
Very good. I'm 30 weeks pregnant. I'm not. The question is, I'm 30 weeks pregnant. Is it safe? And is it safe while I'm breastfeeding?
So those two issues, the breastfeeding and the pregnancy, they did not study, okay? Because they wanted to get this out quick. And so, and there's more scrutiny with that. Breastfeeding, not as much, but certainly with pregnancy, because the baby's inside and you have that placental barrier. So check with your doctor, talk it over with your doctor, see what you want to do, and see if you want the vaccine. It's not recommended by CDC right now because it wasn't studied. However, a physician may still say, you know what, maybe you should get it anyway. And I know that there's information that came out recently about pregnancy and the COVID disease. I haven't read that yet, so I'm not sure exactly what that means, but we can check with your doctor, basically, is what we're saying.
Okay. All right. We're starting to get some questions through our people that are watching right now. So
Great.
if you have allergies to medicines, do you have to take it? Should you take it?
Well, nobody has to take it. Okay.
Right.
So allergies to medications, think of it this way. If you're allergic to a vaccine, then maybe you might be more likely to be allergic to another vaccine. It's like if you're allergic to an antibiotic, such as sulfa drugs, are you more allergic to other drugs like neomycin or something like that? They're different, very different. It's like Coke and Pepsi, okay? So if you have an allergy to a medication, it doesn't necessarily mean you have an allergy to a vaccine. Allergies to vaccines are very, very rare. They're more rare than any other medication we have. I have rarely seen that happen. However, with this vaccine, it does cause some allergy reactions, and why we have people wait 15 minutes after. Mm-hmm. If you've had a vaccine where you needed an EpiPen after, then they are saying wait 30 minutes. So we have it in place to help patients, but and you can talk with your doctor about it. But if you have a general allergy to sulfur or something, you're okay.
You can watch the interview in its entirety on the City of Las Vegas Facebook page. We chatted for about 45 minutes. Or you can go to a variety of places for information. For statewide vaccine information, go to nvcovidfighter.org or you can call 1-800-401-0946. If you reside in Southern Nevada, you can go to covid.southernnevadahealthdistrict.org/vaccine. And of course, you can always keep it here on Channel 2 and check out all of our city's social media platforms for updated information on vaccines and the virus itself. Well, as we mentioned earlier, when we get snow here in Las Vegas, it makes the news sometimes nationally. So a couple of weeks ago, when we got snow, not just in the mountains, but here in the valley, we sent our licensed drone operator and photographer, Steve Horlock, out for some beautiful shots and borrowed some photos from some city employees. We thought we'd share it all with you. Thank you, Steve Horlock. And of course, we want to thank our city attorney, Brian Scott, and Channel 2 station manager, Mark Rosenberg, for sharing some of their photography with us as well for that photo essay. Well, that does it for the City Beat. We want to thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next time around.